You don't have to guard me anymore. You want to say hello? Come here. You just want to say hello? Okay, say hello. Say hello. You got so big. Say hi. Say hi, YouTube. Okay, I'll put you. You're so mad. You're just so mad. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, man. Oh, that's bad. Look. Look. Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia. Here on my channel, I love affordable fashion and beauty. I do hauls, tutorials, reviews, all sorts of fun stuff. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe and stick around. And it is time for me to do my April palettes rundown. These are going to be all the palettes that I used in the month of April. I love doing these because it gives me a chance to really get to know my collection. A lot of times I weed some out. There are some that I am decluttering in this. And it also gives you guys a little glimpse into my large eyeshadow palette collection. So if you want to see all the palettes I used last month and get my thoughts, keep on watching. Okay, first up, we have two that I used together, so I'm just gonna show them together. We have the Nomad Cosmetics Tuscany palette. I am not positive if this is still available. If it is, I will definitely have it linked down below or say somewhere in the description. I do have a code with Nomad, so if you wanna buy anything from there, you do get 10% off. But I have every palette except for one that they've ever done. Crazy, I know, but I'm a fan. And this one is just a really good basic neutral palette. It's one that I like to pull out if I want to bring out maybe some special shades, which I did with this Menagerie Cosmetics. Now this is my own collection of singles. And if you haven't tried Menagerie, it's so good. It is a beautiful, beautiful brand. The palettes are often animal themed or always animal themed, kind of like Sugar Drizzle is. And then we have this one right here is the one that I used. Actually, I take it back. I used two. I used this one here and this one here. So they are both these beautiful greens. And I really love their singles so much because they're just high impact, great quality, and they're also really kind as well. I've had great interactions with them, so that's always a plus for me. Next up, we have the Naturativ Nearly Natural palette. You guys, this palette took 5 months to get to me. Yes, you heard that right, 5 months. Here's the thing though, I have since spoken with the owner. It wasn't just me. It was a pre-order that they pushed back a couple of months. They got a lot of hell about it. I wasn't extremely happy, but I have so many palettes that I didn't throw a big stink. I'm like, I've got tons I can use, but it was a little bit frustrating waiting for this. But some people were really, really awful to them. And I spoke with the owner and she was very, very kind. And it made me kind of rethink and go, you know what? We do need to show some grace sometimes. If you really take a little bit of time to talk to someone about maybe what's going on, you never know. So anyway, I also ordered the new palette. It is on its way to me. I'm so excited. It looks so pretty. I can't wait to review that for you guys. This is a gorgeous neutral palette. I've only used it once. Honestly, it reminds me a lot of my Lunar Beauty Neutrals palette, a whole lot. Why am I about to say Total Eclipse of the Heart? Lunar Beauty Nude Prism. Oh my gosh. I wish I could cue in that song right now, but I don't want to be copyrighted. But anyway, that's what this reminds me of a lot. Similar quality, but maybe these are slightly more special. The shimmers are gorgeous in here, like absolutely stunning. Can't wait to play with this more. Definitely excited about that next palette coming. Stay tuned for that one. Okay, next up we have the Meadow palette from Perfusion Cosmetics. You guys, I've talked about this several times, but their tin pans are so underrated. I mean, these are $5 and I would definitely pay $15 for them. Maybe even $20. They're that good, but they're only $5. The mattes are pigmented, they blend beautifully. The shimmers have a nice impact. They're a little bit dry feeling when you swatch them, but I mean, look, it's really, really pretty once it goes on the eyes, once you smooth it out. And again, I think for $5, that's so good. I don't know how many I have of these. I think 7 to 9. They're really good. All right, next up, these three I used together in a look that I loved on Instagram, and it was a collab with my girl, Sarah. I call her my twin, and we wanted to do a Princess Peach collab because one, I now own a gaming trailer. Long story, follow me on Instagram somewhere. Maybe I'll talk about it more on here, but yes, I run a gaming trailer. And so I needed a way to announce that on Instagram. And with the new movie that came out, that's so good, by the way, Super Mario Bros. Is so fun. If you have kids and you haven't seen it, go see it. But Princess Peach look, we did a collab, and I used the Nomad Cosmetics Cartagena palette. Stunning summer palette. I mean, pinks, oranges, yellows. It is beautiful. I love it. I really like the mattes in here a little bit better than the shimmers. So I brought in my Copaesthetics, and this is the Lots of Love quad. And I use this shade right here is Flirt. This one, it is like a fiery, peachy coral with a little bit of like it's like gold peach. This one here in the center. Stunning. And then I used my Divina single. I used this one right here, which is also so beautiful, and it pops. I mean, look how, okay, I had to kind of like try to make it darker so I can show you this because it wasn't really showing up. It is such a beautiful, look how pretty that is. Divina, man, singles, oh, they are so pretty. I love this one. So yeah, that was such a fun look. One of my favorites I've done in a while. Just peaches and pinks make me happy. All right, next we have the LA Girl Pro Mastery Palette. You guys, these are also one that are underrated. I have 8 of them, something like that. So good. They're nice and like a good size. They're bigger, but they're not huge. Kind of the same size-ish as the Tarte Man Eater After Dark palette. I just stuck my fingernail right in there. And the shimmers are so pretty. I hate when I do that. I've got it on the same hand as the Divina here, and the mattes work really well as well. I always recommend these if you want a nice affordable palette. These are really good. Then we have the Natasha Denona Alloy palette. This came in the new Ipsy. I like this. This is good. I really like this. Like Natasha Denona, I've said a million times, and you know, I like Natasha Denona. I don't want to say I don't. I just am not a fanatic like some people. When something gets that much hype, I want it to blow me away. And I think Natasha Denona is really good, but it doesn't like blow me away. So like the hype kind of annoys me. That's just my own like tick that I have. But I do really like this shade right here. I think it's so pretty. This like bronze shade. It's stunning. And then I do like the mattes in here also. So it's a really good one. Then we have the Ace Beauté Nostalgia palette. I know that they say like this formula wasn't as good as it is now. I have the Fall For You palette. I think it's Fall For You. It's a fall palette. I think that one's a newer formula, and I don't notice a whole lot of difference between the two. So, I mean, I thought it was always good. I really like this one. I think it's great for summertime, but I do think this kind of transitions into fall as well if you stick with like the oranges, but I think this palette's good, and I think the formula is also good. This is the Unearthly Cosmetics Leather and Lace. This is a gorgeous fall palette. I do think it's also spring leaning. It actually reminds me a lot of Sydney Grace. Is it Endless Love? Do I have that right? I may be quoting that wrong, but I've always wanted that palette. And then I looked at this, I'm like, well, I kind of have a lot of that here. This definitely goes like light to dark. I think this is a really solid palette from Unearthly. Next up, we have the Blend Bunny Cosmetics, the Lure palette. This is beautiful. Blend Bunny is definitely one of my favorite brands, one of my favorite formulas. I mean, if I had to, and someone wanted to buy some eyeshadow palettes and they were like, I want my makeup to look really good, but I don't want a huge collection. I probably first tell them Blend Bunny. As much as I love some of my other brands, it's just so easy to work with. And this color story is obviously very like mermaid looking, very like summer. You can go deep, you can go light pastel. I used this for Easter. It was beautiful. I still want to play with this more. I've only used it once, but I am very familiar with their formula. And the shimmers are very like basic in here. Although Pearl does have like a duo, it's like a pink green, which is nice. The rest are just really impactful shimmers, but not like special shades. But it's a beautiful palette and I just love Blend Bunny so much. Then we have these two palettes by LA Colors. I'm not positive, you may see this video before I use these, so I don't want to give too much away, but these are really cheap. They're like $3 and they're not my favorite. I do like a lot of LA Colors palettes and eyeshadow. Their duos from the Dollar Tree are so good. You'll just have to watch that video. I'm still debating if I'm going to keep these or not. We'll just say that. So hopefully just watch that video. But I do think that the embossings are beautiful on here. They're a little difficult to open, but I mean, for a $3 palette, they at least put some detail into it. And I thought the color stories were gorgeous. So watch that video, comment on that one, and let me know you saw this one too. Now this is the Ting Fei, or Ting, I think that's how you say it, Glam palette. This is one that I also featured in a Temu haul. I did a TikTok with this. I've used this twice. It is supposed to be a dupe or a knockoff of Natasha Denona Glam. I really like this. I think it is, I mean, it's super cheap. It's $6. You get quite a few shades in here. It's nice and fairly small. And I mean, are the shimmers like amazing? No, the mattes are like fine. I really liked both of my looks from this. So if you're looking for like a neutral kind of smoky palette and you don't want super, super sparkly, you know, eye-catching shimmers and you just want something like soft and pretty, I think this is a really good palette for $6. All right, next up we have the Dark Fantasy from Beauty Bay. I am just so intrigued by this palette. I've only used it once, so I need to use it more, but I think the color story is so pretty. It's very like matrixy to me, like it's dark, but it's got these punches of like the green and the blue. And I think this would be awesome to use around like spooky season time. But I have really grown to love Beauty Bay. I did not have the best first impression, but since I've learned how to use it, and it's so affordable. I think I got this on sale for $11. Yeah, like I think it's one of the best affordable eyeshadow brands that you can get, especially like color story wise. They are so good with their color stories. So this one is definitely one I'm excited to use more. Now we have the Hummingbird palette. I mean, it's kind of mean to even show this to you guys. It's not available anymore. From Odensai, I think the three that came out with this, the three creators, that collection blew the last one that came out of the water. That's one reason why I didn't get it, is I'm like, I've got the best three that they've like ever done. I love them so much. This Hummingbird palette's beautiful. I love Odensai. They have so many different formulas and textures, and it's also gorgeous. I get compliments. Phenomenal brand, and I'm so sorry this palette isn't available anymore. All right, next we have the Standing O Cosmetics. This one's also not available, but I used it, so I'm gonna show you. This was the Stage Fright palette. It was her Halloween palette, and Standing O Cosmetics is owned by a professional dancer, and I think that's so cool. She does makeup for, well, it started out as makeup for those who are on the stage and who do dancing and they need like bold lips and like dramatic lashes, but she's wanting to also appeal to those who aren't dancers as well. And this was her Halloween palette. Perfect color story for Halloween. These are really good mattes and kind of standard shimmers in here. Even though I believe this is private label and I always talk about that, I'm okay with her pricing on this. I don't think she's trying to claim to be, you know, this like fancy brand and overcharging people. So it actually performs really well. So I'm okay with this one, and I do love her lashes. Her lashes are outstanding. Next, we have the Melt Electric palette. I did a video on this and I did 2 looks. So if you haven't seen it and you're curious, go check it out. You can get all my opinions about this. I had lots of opinions on Instagram as well. I love this palette, and you can hear my pug, by the way. I love this palette, and I'm kind of perturbed, I'm just gonna be real, with a lot of the creators who dogged this palette, because I really think it had to do with like them being salty about PR. I don't have proof. It just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to me. It was a certain circle of girls that I just feel like, I don't know. I felt like they didn't all have their own opinions on it. And anyone else that I know that wasn't in that circle that has tried this really liked it. Performs great. I love the color story. Some people didn't think it went with like the theme, but I don't know. I just think it does. I guess they were expecting a bunch of neons, but like you do have, these are really bright and these are really bright, but I love that it was balanced with some deeper shades in here. Like I'm about to get the Simply Posh Cosmetics, the new one, the like juicy, looks beautiful. It's oranges, yellows, greens. Like I'll have that palette, and it'll actually be really a cute palette to pair with this one. So I love that this is something different, and it has some of these deeper, like into the night shades as I call them. So I really liked this palette, and justice for Melt. That's what I keep saying. Okay, now we have one that I am decluttering as well. So if you've seen that video, you already heard me talk about I'm decluttering this, but this is the ABH Noravina Volume 3 Pigments palette. And I said in that video that it's not that this palette is bad. It is not a bad palette. It is just that it is like a, oh gosh, it's such a crazy layout for one. That doesn't always bother me. I can still see visions. I don't have to have it all laid out perfectly, but when I do look at this and think like I've got these shades in other palettes that I like the formula a little bit more, like say Blend Bunny and the Surge palette. I mean, even some of those that were just in that Melt palette. I don't know. I like it. I just wasn't like blown away. And to me, it's just not a reason to keep it around anymore. So yeah, that's why I'm decluttering this one, but I did like my look. Okay, next up we have this adorable palette from Wet n Wild. It is the Sesame Street palette. I did a whole video. If you missed it, especially if you have kids that like makeup, go watch it. My daughter helped me with that video. I had so much fun with her. She just brought out like, not that I don't show you guys my real side. I do. It's just I'm kind of more about business when I'm on here. And that video was more just laid back. I was more my goofy self that other side of me. So anyway, it was a cute video. Go watch it. But maybe because I looked through the eyes of her too, I just ended up loving this collection. When I first saw it teased, I was like, okay, well, that's for kids. Like I love Wet n Wild, and like, I don't know. It just looked like it's kids makeup. Honestly, everything performed really well. This eyeshadow palette performs so well. This Elmo shade stole my heart. It is such a beautiful, bright, it's the one right here, bright poppy orangey coral that I don't know for sure that I exactly have in my collection otherwise. So that was a pleasant surprise, and the shimmers perform well. There is this one crazy glitter in here, but she had so much fun with that one. So I ended up really liking this. I'm definitely going to keep it. It's sentimental to me now that my daughter and I did this video together, but Wet n Wild just does such a good job on their collections, I think. And they still keep it affordable, which we love. Okay, next is one that I also talked about decluttering in that video. This was the Extrovert palette by Buxom. Okay, so my other Buxom palette that I have, the Boss Babe, it is a neutral palette, warmer neutrals. It is so good. This palette is trash. It just is. It's so bad. I don't even, like when I look at it now, I'm like, this color story is, I don't like it. It's like dull. It's terrible. It's one of the worst palettes I've ever used. So yeah. I I had to do different stuff to my look. And of course I ended up being like, well, I kind of like my look, but It's because I did something kind of graphic that I don't normally do. I think that's why I liked it. It certainly wasn't because of this quality. Okay, and then we have the Nomad Cosmetics Royal Europe palette. I did 3 looks with this. I did a video. If you want to see it, go check that out. The last day, which was my 3rd look, was the 1st day of April. So that's why it still lands in here. And you guys, I used this again actually a couple days ago. It's in a video that you guys might see. It's not featuring Nomad. I don't even mention it. It's because it's for another brand, but I dipped into a multi-chrome in here just to show you what it looked like over a darker base. And these multi-chromes are excellent, excellent. I think they're some of the best I've tried in a palette. Like, yes, we have some singles that can be incredible, but as far as multi-chromes in a palette, I think these and Adept are just, they're right there. I'm so impressed with these. I hope that they continue to pull these out. Amazing formula. This palette is like, the more and more, I'm like, this is pretty special. Now the very last is actually not a palette, but it is singles from, single loose pigments from Silk Naturals. This was in the month of April, so I'm including them, even though it's not a palette. I used more than these 4 altogether to make one of my favorite looks I've ever created. And I even had some of the response on Instagram was like, this is the best look you've ever done. I don't take that credit necessarily, like I'm amazing and I got so much better. These loose pigments are so, it's kind of like with Blend Bunny, that those mats just blend themselves and it can look very professional even if you're not. There's something about these that just, all I did was lay them down next to each other and very lightly kind of make sure that it was blended okay. But like, it looked like I spent forever blending. They are so good. Her brand is so underrated. Don't skip on it because it looks like you're not getting a lot of product, because the packaging is just plain and plastic. Like, if what's inside makes you have the best look you've ever done and people think now you're an MUA and you're certainly not, who cares what the packaging looks like? That's what I say. But these are from her new collection. It's so pretty. Got greens and blues, and then she also did like a flower one. It's got yellow and lavender and pink, and then I love the cream blushes. So go check her out. Such an underrated brand, so good. But that is it, you guys. That's every eyeshadow or eye product like this that I used in the month of April. Let me know your thoughts about these in the comments. And as always, have fun shopping. Budget shopping. Bye.